Hi, I'm Mandy Grass, the family behaviorist, and these are 3 of my favorite little humans.
Hi, I'm on this podcast. Let's do this.
Let's do this. This is the behavior blueprint where we can figure out why kids do what they do.
Is that why parents yell sometimes?
Sometimes, because parenthood is messy, behavior is complex, but with the right blueprint, we can figure it out together.
Yeah!
Wow, welcome back to the Behavior Blueprint. We are trying something so new today. I'm very excited. We are going to do a live coaching session. So I have Sarah here with me. Sarah and I have worked together for over a year now. Sarah, you want to give a little background about how we first started working together?
Yeah, I reached out to Mandy because my middle child was giving me a really hard time. Rewind. I started by doing your group. I don't remember what it was called, where you gave me all the tools for behavior management at home, and you taught me to do the star charts, have a good morning routine, and all of that was going very well. I loved the group. And then a few months later, my middle child, Izzy, who's 4, was giving me a really, really hard time at bedtime. I tried a million different things. It got worse and worse and worse. I was highly emotional about it. It was really hard. And then I scheduled just a 30-minute coaching session with Mandy about how to fix bedtime. And she gave me some really awesome strategies that were, honestly, they were so easy to implement, and turnkey. I could do it in a second. And I was like, oh, how did I not think of this? It's so easy. And after 3 days, this was multiple months ago, after 3 days, her bedtime was fully fixed. And now bedtime is such a positive, happy thing. I don't even worry about it anymore. So I'm back for all of the advice.
And we have a podcast episode about bedtime. So if you are starting this episode, you're like, wait, what did she do? Go check out our episode about bedtime, because we go over all of the strategies that Sarah and I implemented, or she implemented, that we discussed and implemented for her daughter. So please check that out if you're struggling with bedtime. Okay, so do you want to tell us a little bit about, you have 3 daughters, right?
2 daughters and a son.
Okay, and how old are your kids?
They are 6, 4, and almost 2.
Okay. And you're a teacher, or you work in public schools?
I work in public schools. I'm a superintendent, actually, which, I should be able, you would think I would know how to do these things, but turns out professionally, I do know how to manage kids, but in my house, I do not. So here I am.
I completely understand that. You're definitely not alone in that. And to your point about, I get this all the time. People are like, no offense, but nothing you said was rocket science. And I was like, I know, but that's the nice thing about it though sometimes. And what's nice about the podcast is hopefully it can reach more people who can listen to it and just implement that without necessarily a coaching session, or doing a coaching session where someone else, myself, can look at it a little bit more objectively and be like, okay, we're just going to do this. And we're going to try this for a couple of weeks, and we're going to see what happens. So I don't think anything that I say is crazy complicated. It usually makes sense once I explain the rationale, and then we can implement things. So bedtime is going well. That's amazing. What else is going on in your home these days?
Okay, I would say for all my kids, maybe even my 2-year-old, he got in on this last night. We are working on increasing the amount that they do at home in terms of chores. So the chores I like them to do is unload the dishwasher, put away their own laundry, and then either clean up the front hallway shoes or clean up toys in the playroom.
Okay. What does it look like right now in your home? Is this an everyday thing? I will tell you, the dishwasher gets to be a tough one because it's not necessarily as built in as those other things are. So for example, in our home, it used to be every morning, and I would have to make sure I ran it at night, all of those sort of things. So how does that look right now in your home?
Yeah, so that's the problem with the dishwasher. It can't be consistent. It actually, my kids leave for school so early in the morning, and I have to leave so early in the morning that often it just doesn't happen. On the weekdays, I get home late at night and I'm like, I'll do it myself. But on the weekend mornings, that's when I like the dishwasher to happen. And so Saturday and Sunday mornings, that the expectation is that you unload the dishwasher. And that can happen. This is probably part of the gap, but that can happen anytime in the morning. Sometimes it's dad asking, sometimes it's me asking. Even though it's every Saturday and Sunday, I still feel like it's a surprise to them, which is not, that's an us problem, obviously. So there's that. And then that was dishwasher. Putting clothes away is Sunday afternoons. That's when they get their laundry given to them. And then they're required to go upstairs for like quiet playtime instead of naps.
Yep.
And that's when they're supposed to be doing that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Let's start with the dishwasher first, because I do have a hack, I guess, or a workaround that I've implemented with my own daughters. So one of the things when they would get up on Saturday mornings, for example, and do TV time, right? Like we can have a little bit of chill time in the morning on the weekends. We don't do TV before school. But the expectation was first they had to empty the dishwasher and feed the dogs before the TV can go on. So again, that first is something less preferable, followed by something then, which is more preferable. The other thing that it's a little fluid, and I do understand that, but I would try to make it as consistent as possible, just because you get into that intermittent reinforcement. So if you're like, I don't really care if you do it now or before lunch or before dinner, and then you're getting home, if you're like me this weekend, you're like in between 3 sports games and you're trying to feed everyone lunch and the dishwasher's not empty. And then it's like, well, you have to do it now. And, you know, we have some sassy kids who are like, well, you didn't say it had to be now, all of those sort of things. So whatever you could add to make it more predictable. And it doesn't necessarily need to be before TV if you do or don't do that. But it could be before X, before we leave the house, before 9 a.m. I would encourage you, if you don't do it explicitly, like before TV, to have something like an Alexa alarm. And I try to build in that buffer, right? When it comes to chores, the main function of our children's behavior is escape. And so I had said once that I would ask my daughter and she would just not respond to me, which drove me bonkers. And she said, you're going to make me leave whatever I'm doing. So what I do try to work on, and in this case, I would be like, okay, I need this done in the next 20 minutes. I need this done before you get your uniform on. Try to give some explicit context followed up by some sort of reminder that's not you. I talk a lot about Alexa, but whatever you can do to remove yourself from that, like you're giving the demand, I want to escape that demand, those things can be really helpful. Where do you stand on your star charts currently in your home?
We actually just finished our star charts. And so I have to restart them. And I was thinking of, sometimes I have these, I usually have like unload dishwasher as a star. But it just didn't seem to be like really working, because the gap is that it's not that they don't do it. They do they do it, but they just complain the whole time. It's so brutal. And they're like, why do you make me do this? This is the worst. I hate this so much.
And tell me what that looks like. Tell me how you respond when they say that.
I just say, like, as a family, we all take care of this house. Like, I just am like kind of a broken record. Like, oh, after you do this, you can do this. Like a lot of like incentive. Sometimes I'll be like, you're not getting your star if you're complaining while you do it.
Okay.
And that backfires usually.
One thing that is highly effective is modeling. So this is going to sound ridiculous, and I feel ridiculous sometimes when I tell parents this, but I want you at breakfast when they say, like, can I have a water? Be like, you always make me get your water. Why do you always make me get your water? Or when they say, like, Mom, could you get I always have to do the lunch. And they're going to laugh at you. And you're going to be like, it sounds a little bit ridiculous, doesn't it? So I would do that modeling as much as possible and make a joke about it. In behavior analysis, we call it like examples and non-examples. So what's an example of behavior and what's not? And the girls and I used to make that a joke in the car. So we would be talking about maybe rude behavior. And I'd be like, give me an example. And they'll be like, I'm not eating it now. I'm like, oh, that was a good one. That was really rude. All right, now give me a non-example. So I would give a little bit of context to it. And then also I want you to be mindful about how you are responding, because the function of that mad behavior is attention-seeking behavior. I want you to know that I am protesting while doing this. So if you were to be like, you know, I'll be happy to chat with you about that when you're done. Oh, it seems like you're unhappy about loading the dishwasher at, 7:55. I'd be happy to talk to you about your complaints, and try not to engage in it. That whole premise, though, is like giving them a designated time. So rather than being like, enough of the complaining, I'm so sick of the complaining, which is exactly what I say.
Do that too. Yeah, I've said that.
Say, not as I do, is saying, oh, it seems like you're upset about this. I'll be happy to talk to you about this, whatever, as soon as you're done. And give them a time. I call it airing their grievances. I had a behavior plan for a student once where he had like a designated time to air his grievances, because he always had complaints about someone at some point that required a lot of attention. And the thing is, I made his time to air his grievances slightly inconvenient. convenient. So he could do it right before lunch, which would mean he was late to lunch to hang out with his peers, or he could do it right before dismissal, which would make him, not late, but it would cuts into that social time. So that drastically reduced it. So consider giving them a time to air their grievances. Also, like controlled choice. That could be when they do it. That could be, do you do the top of the dishwasher or the bottom? All of those sort of things. Those could be a couple of helpful suggestions. Okay, let's get into the laundry one because I came into this week.
Wait, and can I summarize the dishwasher?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to stamp my takeaways to make sure I'm doing it. Okay, so first, make it predictable in terms of what they can do after. So yes, don't turn the TV on until dishwasher is on. Done. Got it. And then model their huge reactions complaining at another time. And then when they are complaining, give them another time to do that complaining.
Perfect. Yes. And move your attention and outline basically how to get it back. So instead of being like, stop complaining, just remove your attention completely. And I'd be interested to see if that helps or if the complaining is reinforced by the other siblings. So that's just something to keep in mind.
What are your thoughts on me leaving the room when they do it?
Absolutely. Let me know when you're done. Remember, anytime you're removing your attention, that's what leaving the room would be. Just outline how to get it back.
Okay. And so let me know when you're done. And thoughts on praise while they do it, not necessary. Like, oh, Izzy's doing the cups, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. And intermittent stars. So I don't know. We touched on the star chart. Sarah has star charts in her. I would do intermittent reinforcement. So I wouldn't be like every time going. I also would be careful about being like, if you complain, you're not getting one. Let's say the two. I assume the 2-year-old isn't emptying the dishwasher. Let's say the girls are emptying.
He loves to do like one cup.
Oh, okay. My little Parker used to love to sort the silverware. So she would get a stool and bring it all over.
Right.
But yeah, you could, oh my gosh, you get a star for doing that. Oh, I love the way you went right over. But try to catch it randomly. Try not to make it 1-to-1. And you could also reinforce effort. Oh, I love the way that I could tell that Izzy doesn't love to empty the dishwasher, but she went ahead and did it. That's a star, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. I hear that. So you're not just praising for cooperation, you're praising for like a skill within it.
And it could even be if they started complaining and stopped. Wow. Notice, you know what I mean? You can catch. What you want to think is like, what increment? Make sure that we're not operating in all or nothing, even if there's a little step towards where we want to go.
What's the actual thing you would write on the star chart for that?
Oh, so I'm glad that you said that. So my star charts are a little bit vaguer. We've switched to a money jar now because we're the older.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
But mine say things
we're not there yet, but one day.
Mine say things like being independent, or helping around the house, I spell and I say such as like emptying the dishwasher, putting your shoes away, those sort of things. So you can leave it more broad, like using your chores. You could also say something like having a positive attitude while helping, more broad stroke.
That's it. Having a positive attitude while helping, or turning your attitude around.
Yes, that's great. Yep. Or recognizing when you're upset and, replacing. Parker's the best at that. Oh my gosh. My middle can read me so well. Lola has a little bit of trouble reading me. Parker, though, I start to get, she's like, all right, what do we need to do? I will fall directly in line. I was frustrated with her yesterday because she forgot her lacrosse stick for lacrosse at the kitchen table because she had it and was eating dinner early. And then the coach handed out like new things for their headbands and she dropped it between the car and being handed it. And I was like, Parker, she's like, I'm really sorry. And I was like, oh, okay. Nothing takes the wind out of your sails. Like, all right, now I have nothing to lecture with. You're not fighting.
I know. I said, I'm sorry.
I'm like, you did. And I was like, and I am over the top rich now. Next.
Okay, laundry.
Okay, yeah. So I will admit you and I will work through what we're going to implement on this together because I put their laundry in their drawers because they don't do this. So for example, the other day, the 12-year-old, I had his laundry, I cleaned it all, I folded it all, I put it in his basket in his room, and he came downstairs with his laundry in something else, his dirty laundry. And I was like, oh, is this because you didn't empty your clean laundry? And he's like, yep. And I was like, and they you rip it out of the thing. So let's problem solve this together because I need to implement something better in my home.
Well, what I'm about to tell you is pretty gross. I don't fold their laundry.
That's all right.
Yeah. So my system right now is I take the laundry out, I throw it in their basket, I put their basket at the top of the stairs for them to remove that carrying the basket barrier. And they, during their nap time, which is playtime, they put it away on Sundays.
How does it look now? What's happening?
Okay, so tons of complaining. I hate this. This is the worst thing ever. Oh my God, I can't believe I have to do this. Oh my God, she has less laundry to put away than me. Oh my God, I can't believe I have more laundry. Sometimes it's done. Sometimes it's like hidden, scattered around their room in random places. That's just like the laziest place to put them. Sometimes they've hidden it behind their dresses, so I can't see that they didn't actually put it away. And sometimes, usually when they're not doing it together, it's more successful. And so then that's usually when it gets into the places. My oldest daughter, who I do think struggles with executive functioning stuff, can't get it right in terms of where things go.
Okay. So first of all, I'm going to share that I used to have to put away the laundry when I was a kid. It would be folded, and I was known for taking the entire basket. My sister was in college, maybe, and I would go hide it in her closet. Like that is the
This resonates with you.
So I completely understand your children. I think we need to scaffold how we're implementing this.
I know you were going to say this, Mandy. I will do it. I will scaffold, but I'm like, I just want you to be able to do this.
So I think we need to start off with, so I would say either a forwards or a backwards chain here.
Okay.
So maybe you're going to do the laundry with them and they're responsible for their socks and underwear. And so you're going to put the shirts away and the shorts away. And every time underwear comes up, they put the underwear in the drawer. And then I want you to incrementally pull back. So after we've done that successfully, then it would be like, okay, you're going to do the shirts and the underwear, and try and step that back a little bit. Again, I think being mindful about when the laundry is done first then. So like, last night showers were super quick because I told the kids they could have some downtime once the showers were done, right? So being mindful about what's following putting the laundry away. Yeah, I think you're going to want to take a step back just because they're hiding and stuff. And this for me, like, I'll be like, you can't, I don't know, do something unless your room's clean. And they're like, we did it. And then I go upstairs and I'm like, the other day they actually said they did and it was very clean. So trying to work on the specifics of what that looks like and how to get them to more independence. But I think we're operating in extremes right now.
Okay, so just so I'm down to do the forwards backwards chain. I'm trying to understand the why behind it. I think the why is because the skill isn't built yet.
Well, what the why is because they're not possessing it. So I don't know whether or not they have a skill. Let's operate on the assumption they're completely capable of putting this away. I assume the 8-year-old.
I do think they are.
Right. They're not doing it though.
Yeah.
So we can continue to hold the line and be like, you need to do this. And we can find hidden clothes or we can stand there and watch them. But ultimately, when there is a skill lacking or they're just not showing a skill they possess, what you want to do is decrease your expectations, have them build back up from there. Because if you continue to hold the line, it's going to be really hard to get out of the cycle you're in. Okay. Another option is finding something really reinforcing for just that skill.
No.
You could isolate reinforcement. I would separate them though. You said that works better. I would have them do it at different times just to eliminate the variable of like probably the, hey, let's hide it here. Yeah. But the idea is when a skill is not being shown, you have to decrease your expectations. And full transparency, it takes me a while to remember that. I'm very much like, for example, we're back in lacrosse season. We have uniform bags. Everybody takes the uniform off. It goes in the bag. It gets washed in the uniform bag. And last week, one kid did. Then he didn't have his shorts in the bag. There were 5-6 kids that had sports that day. One kid put it in the bag. And so part of me is like, But I caught myself this time and I was like, okay, we're starting a fresh season. Girls, remember, uniform bags, all of that sort of stuff. So just decrease those expectations. It's temporary. It's just to build back up.
Okay, great. So I will help and then slowly
fade yourself back.
Fade.
And I would have some sort of, whether it's a star, whether it's, a fun activity after, maybe it's you had dinner and we're going to put laundry away and then dessert, right? It doesn't have to be, here's a gummy bear. It doesn't have to be, here's a whatever. But if there's a natural progression, if your whole family is watching a movie, I would do first that. I will also say I'm notorious for like moving the goalpost, being like, okay, but then also just this, because I know the motivation for like the family movie is so big that I try to put on. Don't do that, but it happens.
So usually the motivation I use is like, once you're done with that, you can be done with your quiet time. Um, but I wonder if that's not big enough.
Right. What comes after quiet time?
Depends on the day.
Yeah.
It's
So
really
maybe,
like they're allowed to come downstairs.
yeah. So maybe consider there being an activity. Maybe it's then we'll go for a bike ride. Maybe it's
Yeah.
then we'll chalk
Yeah.
out. Again, it doesn't need to be something it can be something you would normally do anyway, but
Yeah.
you know they really love it. Like my kids love to go outside and make a picnic. So
Yeah.
if I were to be like, first put your laundry away, then we can have a picnic,
Yeah.
like that would be probably motivating enough.
We just got a trampoline. That's an easy ad.
That's a huge one.
Yeah. Great. Okay. That is easy. I just have to help them.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
Do as I do. I'm with you on the laundry one.
I know.
And you and I were chatting before we started recording, and you had said to me, it's sometimes just easier to do it myself. And I so understand that to my core. And that's why what I would say to you is, and you seem to have done a good job of narrowing things down, pick a couple of things that you're going to be like, nope, we're all doing these because all the stuff about the invisible labor and then taking it on, it just starts to snowball. And if we can start with something and work our way up, it'll be much better long term. And the 2-year-olds tend to love Marley's literally like, can I cook with you? Can I, anything I'm doing, she wants to be a part of it. So, the younger we can start, the better.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Hallway cleanup and playroom cleanup. This is my messiest one.
Okay. So
I've
tell
done
me
a
what.
terrible job with it. It's inconsistent. It's unclear what the expectation is. Who knows who's in charge of the front hallway? Who's in charge of the playroom? When am I asking to do it? I haven't thought through any of that.
Okay.
And yeah, sorry, one more thing. When they're willing to do the playroom, it's usually when there's a huge incentive after. And even when they do it, it's not effective cleanup, right? Like they're just taking stuff off the floor and putting it in random places.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to talk about a couple of things. One, I saw this on Instagram a couple of years ago and we implemented it, is that I assigned each girl a space in the house that they were responsible for. So I think responsible for the living room. One of them was responsible for the stairs. And maybe the other one was, I can't remember what the third space was. Oh, the playroom, right? The playroom, the living room, and the stairs. And it rotated.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Okay.
stairs.
Rotated. Oh, okay.
Right. So they're not always responsible for the same place. The next part of this was defining what that looked like. For the stairs, usually in my home, it was shoes. We put the shoes on the stairs. So it was putting the shoes in each person's room, in their spot in their room. For the living room, it was folding the blankets and picking up the pillows. And then for the playroom, this is where it gets really tricky. You want to be as measurable as possible. And that is really hard to do. So I would make it specific, like, the Barbies need to be in the dollhouse and the blocks need to be in the block bin. And again, back to what we said about the laundry, make those expectations small and reasonable enough, and we can build on from there. That might mean, similarly to the forwards or backwards chain, that you're doing it with them, but they're responsible for those two specific things. And then figuring out how often are you doing that. So you said the hallway, the stairs, I think, and the playroom. Is it twice a week? Is it, how often are we saying, okay, we all need to go check our space?
I think it can happen every night to me.
Okay.
I think it would be more successful if it was every night. And those are all things that I do every night anyway that I shouldn't be doing myself.
Right. So yeah, I think I would try and have it at a designated time if possible. I know the spring and sports and everything, it gets a
I
little
know that I was just thinking dance is gonna get,
but make it as predictable as possible. Maybe it's right before bath, maybe it's whatever that looks like, and make sure it rotates. So it's you're gonna get the I have the playroom, that's so much more. I didn't make the mess. Oh, this week it's you, and then it rotates who's in charge of that next.
Do you have a visual for that, or do you just tell them?
So there are visuals on my website. This came up similarly with my daughters in their room. And so I defined it, and I had I took pictures of their literal room, and it was shades open, floor clean, drawers closed, and pictures of each of those things. So especially in your playroom, I would do that. What do you and start small. What are 3 things that you want to happen that are the biggest mess or whatever?
Dress up clothes go in the bin and Barbies go in the bin. That's it.
Okay, so have girls of similar ages. I can't.
You're like, I remember this.
You want to know something funny? When Lola was maybe like when I first got her into dress up, I bought a hanging rack, and I decided, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard, that I did myself, that we were going to hang up all of the dresses every time we were done with them. Like, what on earth was I thinking? And then, like, I don't know, maybe 3 months later, I went and got a bin at Home Goods. I was like, just shove them in the bin. Put them in the bin, because, so again, realistic expectations. That expectation was absurd.
No, it's so funny you say that. I have a hanging rack too. I bought it. But it has a bin underneath it. And all of a sudden, the only thing that's used on that hanging rack is the bin underneath.
Yep. So yeah, I agree. I'm team bin. Just shove them in there. That's all. That's the point. Yeah.
Okay, so wait, your answer to the visual was I should actually take pictures of the spaces.
Yes, I say real pictures. And so, yeah, like I would take pictures of, you could even do like to do and done and take like a check mark. So you could put the check, you could have a picture of the dresses all over the floor and then a picture of them all over the bin. And maybe she moves the Velcro check over to the bin or whatever that looks like.
Oh man, Velcro. Yeah, that's really good. Okay.
You don't Velcro. I laminate. You could also just get sheet protectors. My girls love dry erase marker. So if they just check it off. So maybe then I wouldn't do both pictures. I would just have the like dresses in the bin, and they can check it off with a dry erase marker when they're done.
And then in the dry erase marker, you can just write who was in charge of it that day.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
How often would you switch it?
Probably weekly.
Yeah, I want them to get good at it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so weekly. Yeah, so that they get like 5 FATs probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but you made a great point. Opportunities to practice. Exactly. They need multiple opportunities to practice.
Yeah. We have different terminologies for similar thing. Opportunities to practice. I'm like, at bats. Okay. Great. I feel like I have a really clear plan for chores.
Are there any other questions you have about the things that we covered right now? So we talked chores. We talked very specific chores, how to implement that, how to work on being more explicit about cleaning and the complaining. Anything else you want to touch on?
Nope. I got it. I'm ready to go.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Sarah. And this is what a coaching session is like. Sarah and I have had a bunch of these at this point, and parents just come and we talk about what's going on and what it looks like, and we come up with a plan. So if that's something you're interested in, you can check out my website, thefamilybehaviorist.com. But other than that, this has been live coaching. And I hope that if you are struggling with chores in your home, I hope this session with Sarah has given you some good ideas about what to do. All right. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thanks, Mandy. It's been great.
If this podcast has helped you even a little bit, leaving a review is one of the biggest ways that you can help me. It helps other parents find the show, and honestly, it helps me know what's landing for you. You can do it right now while you're listening. I would really appreciate it. For information on topics like this and many more, come back to this podcast, The Behavior Blueprint Weekly, and you can always check out my content on Instagram and TikTok at The Family Behaviorist. Thanks so much.